Hey folks, Lee Dundas, human rights attorney here. I wanted to give you guys a little update on where we stand this week here in California and on the west coast of the United States. Last Thursday, a friend of mine was driving down the street in LA County in a beach city with another friend of hers in the car. And as they passed by a vacant lot off to the side of the street, they noticed what appeared to be tiny little semi-permanent trailer-y type homes going in. So they pulled over and the girlfriend got out and approached the sidewalk to ask what was going on. At which point an armed guard in military uniform ordered her to back the hell off the sidewalk. Ma'am, you need to get back off the sidewalk. You need to stay 10 feet off the perimeter. This is a quarantine camp under our jurisdiction. So that happened on Thursday of last week. Also on Thursday of last week, a different friend of mine who owns a company that employs a fleet of drivers had one of their drivers driving down a different city street in a different city, also in LA County though. And he was routed into what looked like a little choke point, like a DUI checkpoint, but it wasn't a DUI checkpoint. It was a COVID-19 testing point. And when he approached to the front of the line, they ordered him to drop his window down and they said they were going to do a COVID-19 test on him. At which point he responded like I would have and like many of you would have. And he said, hell no, you're not doing that. And they said, well, in that case, you need to give us your license, even though he wasn't drunk, it was broad daylight, and he had done nothing wrong. They ordered him to submit his license to their review, and then they took his license number down, and then they told him he was no longer free to pass down that particular byway or highway. He had to flip a U-turn and go back the way he had come. And then 2 days ago, I was shown 8 documents from the Department of Health website in Washington State, which is just 2 states north of us here in California. And they've got an interesting little program going. If you have been exposed to a COVID-19 patient, the local health officer is empowered to do all sorts of things with you. Pretty crazy stuff. So you don't have to be sick with the virus. You don't have to have tested positive for the virus. You simply need to have been in Target or in the grocery store standing in line next to somebody who subsequently tested positive or tested false positive for the virus. And if they think you're going to be a good little boy or girl, they can engage in a voluntary request for you to voluntarily self-quarantine for a couple of weeks. But if they think you are not going to play along nicely, the local health officer, there's 3 different options here. The local health officer can go to Plan B. And Plan B is to be used, and I quote, when the health officer is not as confident that the individual will comply with a voluntary request for isolation or quarantine, or when the local health officer believes the formality of the order with police enforcement and fines will better ensure compliance. Yeah, folks, there's nothing to see here. Just some Japanese internment camps going into LA County, just some military type personnel on the streets in LA County forcibly testing you or taking your identification and paperwork if you refuse, and, throwing away due process in the state of Washington if you are going to be a rabble-rouser and you've merely been exposed to somebody who was COVID positive, so they can involuntarily detain your ass for 10 days that they can then extend up to 30 days. I have said in recent weeks that I thought we were on a bullet train headed back to 1939 Germany. I was wrong. We aren't on a bullet train headed toward Germany. We are on a bullet train that is pulling into that station right about now. You have got the military on our streets in LA. They're making quarantine camps right here. I don't give a damn last night that Newsom came out and did a complete 180 and said, we're reopening the state. 53 out of 58 counties are going to be open. We're going to have sports. We don't know what it'll look like, but we're going to have sports back in June. We aren't done here, folks. I hate to break it to you. We are nowhere near done. Our job isn't done until every last bit of military is off the domestic streets of our state, and until they have pulled out every last little tiny trailer home that is in one of those damned Japanese internment camps that they're calling a safe house for COVID right now. Your job, if you choose to accept it, is to bust your ass one more time and get to Sacramento this Saturday, May 23rd at high noon. As you well know, Memorial Day weekend is where we celebrate those who have gone before us and given everything they had for freedom. The least we can do is to show up Saturday and continue to carry the torch for those who died defending our right to freedom, because I don't know about you, but I am not prepared to sell out the freedom they died defending on my watch. And if you feel the same, you should also be in Sacramento this Saturday at noon. I'll see you there.